Did you know your friendship on Instagram could destroy your real life? It started with a double tap. Just a stupid little heart on a post I barely thought about. A mirror selfie, not even revealing, just well-lit and captioned with something like, "Vibe in solo." I didn't know the post would be the fuse. And I sure as hell didn't know the bomb had been waiting for months, maybe years, to go off. Her name was Melanie. We met 3 years ago at a friend's wedding. She had this electric laugh and eyes like she could read your phone screen without even looking. We weren't close, not really. More like orbiting satellites, occasional likes, the occasional, "you look great" comment. But she was always present. My girlfriend Kayla used to joke, "That Melanie girl's always first on your pics." I laughed it off. It's just Instagram. It's harmless. Except it wasn't. 2 months ago, I lost my job. Downsizing. Tech layoffs. Kayla stepped up, picked up hours, helped with rent, even covered my car payment 1 month. I was in a slump. I knew it. Felt like a loser most days. That's when Melanie's messages started getting warmer. "Hey you. Saw your post. You okay?" Then, "Just remember, not everything has to feel like a grind. You're still you." And finally, "I always thought you were too good for that place anyway." I didn't respond much. Thanks here. A thumbs up there. But I didn't delete them either. I read every word. One night, Kayla saw a notification pop up. It was nothing bad, just a heart emoji Melanie reacted to one of my stories with. But Kayla went cold. She didn't yell. Just said, "You should tell her to stop." I said I would. I didn't. I figured it'd die off. I didn't realize Melanie was feeding a fire she'd been nursing for years. And Kayla? She wasn't wrong. She just wasn't finished. The next weekend, we were out with some of her friends. I stepped outside to take a call from my brother. Wasn't even 5 minutes. When I came back, her friend Jenna wouldn't look at me. Her other friend Nicole kept smirking. Kayla was silent the entire ride home. That night, she showed me a printout. A whole damn PDF. Screenshots, captions, comment threads. DMs from Melanie. Pictures I didn't even know I'd been tagged in. Stuff from months ago. Years. How long has this been going on? I blinked. What? She slammed the folder down. You really think I didn't notice? That I didn't see the way you smile when she comments? I tried to explain. I said it wasn't like that. That Melanie was just Melanie. A digital ghost. But Kayla wasn't having it. You let her flirt. You let her stay close. You let her draw lines around us and waited to see if I'd flinch. She left that night. Packed a bag. Said she'd stay with her sister. I thought I could fix it. Thought it'd blow over. Then Monday morning, I showed up to a job interview. A marketing firm a friend had connected me with, and the hiring manager looked at me like I'd shown up in clown shoes. 2 questions in, he said, "Are you aware someone's been tagging you in posts suggesting harassment?" My stomach dropped. Melanie had gone public. Not just about me. About everything. About Kayla. About how men use women emotionally while playing the faithful boyfriend. She named me. Tagged me. Wrote threads. Personal messages. Screenshots. Cropped and warped just enough to turn me into the villain. By lunchtime, I'd lost my shot at the job. By dinner, half my contacts had gone silent. And Melanie? She posted one last story. Funny how easy it is to ruin a man's life with nothing but his own posts. And then she blocked me. That's when I realized. This wasn't flirting. It was revenge. And I still don't know what for. All I know is, it started with a like, and ended with me losing everything. But I'm not done. Not yet. The day after the job interview disaster, I stayed in bed till noon. I couldn't sleep the night before. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Melanie's story again. Her smug little caption, that black background with white font, like she was quoting scripture. Funny how easy it is to ruin a man's life with nothing but his own posts. That line looped in my head like a curse. I hadn't even texted Kayla. Didn't know what to say. What could I say? Hey, turns out the girl you were worried about actually did nuke my life from orbit. Sorry you were right. By 3 o'clock, I forced myself to get up. I needed answers. I needed to know why. So I called someone I hadn't talked to in years, Rachel. Rachel and Melanie had been roommates back in college. I knew they had a falling out, something ugly, but Rachel always struck me as real. No games. No filters. She picked up on the second ring. Well, she said. Took you long enough. Rachel, I need to ask about Melanie. There was a long pause. Then she laughed. But it wasn't kind. She got to you too, huh? I asked what she meant, and she sighed, like she'd been waiting for this call. Melanie doesn't flirt. She feeds. She watches, waits, then strikes when you're at your weakest. That's her thing. She's not after love. She's after leverage. I told her about the screenshots. The job interview. Kayla. And let me guess, Rachel said. She never sent you anything explicitly bad. Just enough to make your girlfriend paranoid. Just enough to make it look like something was going on. Exactly. She did the same thing to my ex, Rachel said. DM'd him for months. Then when I found out, she played the victim. Said I was controlling and insecure. Next thing I know, she's at his birthday party, sitting next to his mom like they'd known each other for years. I sat there stunned. Why? Why does she do this? Rachel's voice turned sharp. Because if she can't be loved, she wants to be remembered. She wants a footprint in your life, even if it's scorched into the ground. I thanked her, hung up. Then I did something I hadn't done in weeks. I posted. Not a selfie, not a quote, just a plain background with text. Sometimes the biggest betrayal comes from the ones who smile while watching you burn. Within an hour, Melanie viewed it. Then Kayla. That night, Kayla texted me. Was that about her? I replied, all of it. She didn't respond, but I knew she read it. And something told me, this wasn't over. Not for any of us. 3 days went by with no word from Kayla. Not a text. Not a call. Her social media was a ghost town. No news stories. No posts. Nothing. That silence echoed louder than any scream. I kept thinking about what Rachel said. About Melanie needing to leave a mark. I started going through old DMs, old tags, even deleted comments, trying to piece together a timeline. Melanie had been commenting on my posts for over a year before Kayla even noticed. Little compliments. Inside jokes I didn't remember sharing. Emojis that looked innocent but hit different in hindsight. And one thing stood out. Every time I posted something good about Kayla, Melanie went dark. No likes, no comments. But anytime Kayla and I had an argument, boom, she was there. Like she could smell blood. It wasn't a crush. It was a campaign. I knew I couldn't win Kayla back just by saying I was sorry. I had to do something real. So I reached out to the only person who might still talk to her, her sister, Liv. Liv hated me. Always thought I wasn't good enough for Kayla. But she picked up after 2 rings. Whatever this is, make it quick, she snapped. Liv, please. I need to know if she's okay. She sighed like I was asking for a kidney. She's not talking to anyone. Not even me. That hit harder than I expected. I told her everything. About Melanie. The messages. The job interview. The post I made. I didn't hold anything back. There was a long pause. Then she said, "You're not the only one Melanie messed with." My breath caught. What do you mean? She DM'd me once. A few weeks ago. Said you and her had a thing. Asked if Kayla ever told me you cheated. I thought it was spam. But Kayla, she saw it. My chest went cold. She what? She saw it. Didn't tell me until after she left. Said it broke something in her. I was shaking now. I never cheated. Never even came close. I know, Liv said quietly. But Melanie's smart. She didn't have to convince Kayla. She just had to make her doubt long enough to let the cracks spread. Then she hung up. That night, I sat down and wrote Kayla a letter. Not an email. Not a text. A real, pen-to-paper letter. I told her everything. Every message. Every lie. Every time I should have spoken up and didn't. I walked it to her apartment myself. Left it in the mailbox. Didn't knock. Didn't wait. Then I went home and waited. And waited. For days later, she texted me. I read it. That was all. But it was something. The next day, I got a DM from an anonymous account. No profile pic. No followers. It just said, "You think this is over?" I stared at it for a long time. Because I recognized the writing style. Melanie wasn't done. She was just getting started. I didn't reply to the anonymous message. What was I supposed to say? Cool, Melanie. Thanks for reminding me you're still out there hunting me like a damn ghost. But the thing is, when someone like her knows they got to you once, they don't stop. They escalate. 3 days after the message, my landlord called. Said he'd gotten an anonymous tip about me hosting parties with minors. I damn near dropped the phone. Of course, it was crap. I don't even know anyone under 21. But that didn't matter. The accusation was enough to make him do a courtesy inspection. He showed up unannounced, poking through my apartment like he expected to find a red Solo cup orgy in the living room. "You live alone, right?" he asked, squinting like the truth was hiding in my couch cushions. "Yeah," I said. "Have for 3 years." He didn't say much after that. Just nodded. Said something about needing to follow up on tips, then left. I stood in the silence afterward, heart pounding like I'd just outrun a cop. This was it. Melanie had moved from social sabotage to real life. And now I wasn't just fighting for a relationship. I was fighting to keep my life intact. I called Rachel again. "You were right," I said. She didn't sound surprised. "She's playing the long game now. You're not a person to her. You're a story she's writing. And she doesn't want a happy ending for you." I asked what I could do. She said the only way to beat Melanie was to expose her, but it had to be airtight. No speculation. No emotional rants. Just cold, hard proof. So I started digging. I went through every old post, every DM, every tagged photo, every comment. I called friends, asked for screenshots, tracked the patterns, and it all lined up. Every time I was vulnerable, Melanie was there. Every time Kayla and I had a fight, Melanie commented. Every job update, every personal win, radio silence. But the second I stumbled, she was first in line with a like and a wink. I even found a comment she left under one of Liv's posts, just a string of emojis, eyes fire performing arts. It was from a week before everything blew up. It wasn't flirtation. It was chess. Then I got a call from Kayla. "I want to talk," she said. "We met at a coffee shop downtown. Neutral territory." She looked tired. Beautiful, but tired. Like she hadn't slept right in a month. She didn't say much at first. Just stirred her coffee like it held answers. Then she said, "Why didn't you tell me?" "I thought it would blow over," I said. She looked up, eyes rimmed red. Nothing ever blows over. Not when someone like that's involved. I reached into my jacket and pulled out a folder. My receipts. A timeline. A dossier. Kayla flipped through the pages slowly. Her hands were shaking. When she looked up, there was something like grief in her face. "I wanted to believe you. I really did." "You still can," I said. "But I'm not asking for that. I just needed you to see the truth." She nodded, closed the folder. "I believe you. But this doesn't make it all okay." "I know. I'm still hurt. Still angry." "I know. But I also know that wasn't your war. You just got caught in the blast." We sat there in silence. And then she said something I'll never forget. "Let's end this. Together." Kayla and I didn't get back together that night. That's not how this story goes. But we did start planning. We agreed on one thing. This wasn't about revenge. This was about protection. For me, for Kayla, maybe even for whoever Melanie would target next. Because there would be a next. Melanie thrived on silence. On people being too ashamed or too broken to speak up. We weren't going to be silent anymore. We created a shared drive. Started cataloging everything. Not just my stuff, but what Kayla found on her end, too. Screenshots, message histories, voicemails, tag content, even the anonymous DMs that matched Melanie's writing style. And something wild started happening. Other people came forward. Kayla told one of her coworkers what happened. The woman pulled her aside a few days later and said, "Wait, Melanie? Melanie Faulkner?" Turns out, she'd gone to high school with Melanie. Had a friend whose engagement imploded after Melanie slid into the guy's inbox for months. Then sent screenshots to the bride's mother 2 weeks before the wedding. Same patterns. Same playbook. Rachel added her own files. Old messages. Even a voice memo Melanie once left her, passive-aggressive and sugar-coated like arsenic dipped in honey. I built a timeline. Clear as day. Dates, triggers, responses. Every time someone got too close to being happy, Melanie stepped in. Then came the hard part, going public. We didn't want to post a call-out thread, not some clickbait drama drop. That's not what this was about. We made a site. Simple. Anonymous. Just titled, Pattern Recognized. It laid everything out. The patterns. The evidence. The timeline. Statements from Rachel, Kayla, and me, all signed. No name calling. No speculation. Just data. And then we waited. It spread faster than we imagined. Within 2 days, we had over 30 emails from people who said Melanie had manipulated them, too. Not always romantically. Sometimes professionally. Sometimes as a friend. The thread hit Reddit. Then Tumblr. Then a minor blogger in Portland made a video. And that's when Melanie broke. She sent me a DM from a burner account. The name was Truthkeeper93. One line. "Take it down, or I'll make sure you regret it." I didn't reply. I forwarded it to the email on our site. Then Kayla posted one sentence to her story. "Protect your peace, even if it means burning the bridge to save the village." And Melanie? She started spiraling. She began posting vague quotes. Some people are so obsessed with playing the victim, they forget they're the villain. Then came the accusations. Cyberbullying. Smear campaigns. Invasion of privacy. But it was too late. The pattern had been recognized. The silence was broken, and we weren't afraid of her anymore. Melanie didn't disappear. If anything, she got louder. She started posting 3-4 times a day, always vague, always performative. She went from villain to victim faster than I thought humanly possible. Selfies with tear-stained cheeks. Long captions about betrayal. Passive-aggressive digs at people who weaponize mental health for clout. And some people believed her. There's always a few who do. She had a tight circle of defenders, old classmates, a few influencers who'd never met her in person, but liked the drama. They amplified her posts. Said we were cruel. Said we were trying to cancel her. Let people heal. One comment read, "You're just mad she didn't love you back," said another. And the worst one, "Maybe you should have treated her better." I felt sick. But Kayla kept me grounded. "She's playing the sympathy card," she said. "That doesn't mean we have to respond." So we didn't. Not publicly. But behind the scenes, something had shifted. Melanie's real-world ties started unraveling. Her job, a mid-level marketing gig, put her on suspension, pending review. 2 of her brand sponsors quietly pulled out. One issued a vague statement about values. And then Rachel forwarded me a message. It was from a woman named Elise. Elise said she was Melanie's cousin. She'd found the pattern-recognized site. Spent hours reading. Recognized the writing. The behavior. The manipulation. And then she wrote, "I believed every horrible thing she said about you. All of you. I helped spread some of it. I thought I was protecting her. Now I don't know who I was defending." That message hit me harder than any of Melanie's threats. It meant the truth could be louder if we let it stand on its own. We updated the site again. Added Elise's statement. Added 5 more testimonies. More patterns. More data. At that point, it wasn't about me anymore. It was about the next person she'd target, and making sure they had something we didn't. A warning. A record. A truth she couldn't twist. But Melanie wasn't done. Not yet. She went silent for 2 days. Then she showed up. At my building. In person. I saw her through the security camera, standing by the front gate, sunglasses on, hood up, holding a phone like it was a weapon. She buzzed twice. Then again. I didn't move. My phone rang. Unknown number. I let it go to voicemail. Then the intercom crackled. "I know you're watching, so come talk to me like a man." It wasn't anger in her voice. It wasn't even sad. It was control. That same slow, syrupy tone she used when she commented on my vacation photos 2 years ago. "Look at you. Living the dream." I buzzed the gate. Not because I wanted her there. Because I needed to see her. She stepped into the lobby like she owned the place. Didn't even look around. Walked right up to my door, calm, rehearsed. I opened it. 10 minutes, I said. She smiled. "That's all I need." We sat across from each other, her on the couch, me on the edge of the kitchen counter, arms folded. "You've said your piece," she began, voice low, precise. "But I haven't said mine." I didn't respond. She leaned forward. "You know this got out of hand, right?" "Which part?" I asked. "The part where you lied to my girlfriend? Or the part where you tried to get me evicted?" She tilted her head. "I never told you to like me. I just offered something better than what you had." That made me laugh. Bitter. Exhausted. "You offered a minefield. Wrapped in filters." She didn't flinch. "You think you're the only one who's been used?" she said. "I've been played too. I just don't cry about it in coffee shops." There it was, the mask slipping. "Then why are you here?" I asked. "Why show up now?" Her mouth tightened. She reached into her bag and pulled out a folded piece of paper. Slid it across the table. "Cease and desist." "You're seriously going legal now?" I asked. She smiled, just a little. "It's a formality. But you and your little fan club have 2 options. Take the site down quietly, or I file for harassment." I stood up. "You came here to threaten me?" "No," she said, rising too. "I came to remind you what happens when people think they can rewrite my story." I stepped closer. Not aggressive, just enough to let her know I wasn't scared. "You're not the story anymore, Melanie. You're the pattern." She flinched. For the first time, something broke in her face. Like she hadn't expected me to still be standing. Then she turned, walked to the door. Before leaving, she looked over her shoulder. People forget. They always do. I met her eyes. Not this time. She left. The second the door clicked shut, My hands started shaking. Not from fear, from relief. Because I finally saw it for what it was. Not a love story. Not even a revenge plot. Just a parasite. Desperate to stay relevant in a host that stopped feeding her. And for the first time since this all began, I felt clean. Melanie never followed through with the lawsuit. The cease and desist? Empty. My lawyer, a friend of my cousin's, took one look and said, "She Googled this template. Tell her to try harder." After that, Melanie disappeared from my life for good. Her socials went dark. Her burner accounts stopped pinging us. No new anonymous threats. No cryptic story posts. Just nothing. Kayla and I stayed in touch. For a while it was just that, polite check-ins, the occasional meme, some silent moments that meant more than words. Then one night, a month after Melanie's visit, Kayla came over. She brought Chinese. We didn't talk about the past. We didn't dissect anything. We just sat on the floor, ate lo mein, and laughed like we used to. When she left, she kissed my cheek. It was slow, simple, honest. Healing doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it's quiet, like that. Rachel and I still talk. She's dating someone new. Someone who doesn't flinch when she says boundaries. The pattern recognized site still gets visitors. People still write in. Some to share. Some to ask. Some just to say, "Thank you. I thought I was alone." We left it up. Not as a weapon. As a light. Because if there's one thing I've learned, it's this. Manipulators count on silence. They bank on your shame, your guilt, your fear of being disbelieved. But when you speak, when you name what they tried to keep in shadow, they shrink. Not instantly. Not easily. But they do. I don't hate Melanie. Not anymore. I don't even think about her much these days. But sometimes, when a new notification pops up, or someone double taps an old photo, I remember. It started with a like, and it nearly ruined my life. But it also led me back to truth, to boundaries, to myself. And that's worth remembering too. 6 months later, I got a message. Not from Melanie. From someone who'd once called her their best friend. It was short. Just a screenshot. A post Melanie made under a different handle. New name, same patterns. Flirting with a guy who just lost his mom. Commenting on every grief post like she was a licensed therapist. DMs full of comfort and emojis. The friend wrote, "Thought you'd want to know she's back at it. Different mask, same moves." I didn't respond. Didn't repost. Didn't even save the image. Because by then, I finally understood. Stopping someone like Melanie isn't about policing every account, every comment, every lie. It's about the people she hasn't reached yet. And the people she already has. So I updated the site. Not with new dirt. Not with another timeline. With a letter. To anyone caught in a cycle they can't explain. To the ones doubting their instincts, questioning their sanity. The ones who can't point to a single crime, but feel the slow, invisible erosion of their peace. I told them, "You're not crazy. You're not dramatic. And no, you're not overreacting." If someone constantly makes you feel like the problem, but never seems to offer real solutions, that's a clue. If you feel drained after every interaction, confused more than comforted, that's a pattern. You don't need evidence to leave. You don't need proof to protect yourself. Sometimes the red flag isn't what they do. It's how you feel when they're done doing it. That post got shared more than anything else on the site. I got emails from therapists, teachers, college students, divorced parents, people who'd finally found the words they needed to say. That's what happened to me. One email simply said, "I didn't know until now. Thank you for giving it a name." That's when I realized the most dangerous thing about manipulation isn't how it starts. It's how long you live in it before you realize it has a name. And once you name it, you can walk away from it. Not because they let you go, but because you finally see the door. I get asked sometimes if I'd do it all over again. If I'd call her out. If I'd build the site. If I'd expose what happened instead of letting it die quietly. And the truth is, I don't know. Because telling the truth didn't feel like freedom at first. It felt like standing naked in the middle of a freeway, hoping the headlights swerved. But then the messages started. The quiet ones. The raw ones. From people who didn't need to be rescued, just heard. A teenager whose best friend ghosted her after years of gaslighting. A father who finally understood why his daughter left her fiancé 2 weeks before the wedding. A woman who read our story and called her sister for the first time in years. None of these people were asking for advice. They just wanted to know they weren't alone. And if that's what this story became, not a cautionary tale, not a battle report, but a mirror for someone else's quiet storm? Then yeah, I'd do it again. Because the worst thing Melanie ever did wasn't lying. It was making us believe that no one would believe us. And once we shattered that illusion, she lost her grip. Not with a bang, not with some dramatic downfall, but with silence. Real silence. The kind you earn. Kayla and I aren't back together. Not in the way we were. But we talk. We share. We exist in each other's orbits again. And sometimes, that's what healing looks like. Not a reunion, a return to honesty. I still get jumpy when I see a burner account in my followers. Still feel a pang when someone comments, "Oh wow, she was wild for that." Because people love stories with villains. But what they need is stories with survivors. So here's mine. And if you're still in it, if you're doubting your worth, questioning your memory, shrinking yourself to fit someone else's script, this is your sign to stop. You don't need permission to protect your peace. You don't need an apology to choose yourself. And you don't need to burn the whole house down to walk out the door. You just need to know there is a door. And someone on the other side, waiting to tell you. I've been there too.